Going for boost. Well, I think going for boost, if you're a boost merchant, like someone like AJ or someone, you go for boost.
100% of the time.
Yes.
Always, every second of every game. Ball's going in your net, don't worry about it. Go get the boost and make sure you've got the full 100 to celebrate with the other team.
Oh God. Never. Yeah, never. Always go for ball.
Yeah.
Number one rule of Rocket League.
Welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, where three aggressively average Rocket League players talk about everything RLCS with your hosts, Ace, Code Red Jack, Kyle Cube, and AJ Binky. So, if you've ever wondered when the best time to go for Boost Over Ball is, you've come to the right place.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much for listening. Welcome to the show. My name is Kyle, K-Cube. I'm a head coach for Lawrence Tech University Rocket League, and today I'm joined with AJ Binky. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
We got a lot to talk about. We've had some crazy. It's been a crazy week for us here on the podcast, but an even crazier Swiss from EU. So thankful that we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's been wacky for everybody lately.
It certainly has. But before we kind of jump into the show today, I'd like to give first off a massive thank you to everyone who entered our giveaway. The winners were drawn today, right before EU Swiss stage kicked off. Congratulations to the 5 of you that won 4 sets of esports credits and a sweatshirt from the Boost Over Ball podcast merch store. So we had over 400 entries. We gained about 400 followers. We seriously cannot thank you guys enough for all your support from the bottom of our hearts. We hope that this translates into more listeners, that we can continue to grow our show, continue to bring you guys the best content possible. But with that, on today's episode, we will be talking about the EU Swiss stage, the esports decals, like some consensus thoughts on Twitter versus our thoughts, which ones we're rocking, etc. And we'll give you our first thoughts on the NA Open Qualifier 2, some potential teams to look out for, kind of what we think is going to happen. So with that, let's just jump right into EU Swiss. AJ, do you want to run us down the results of which teams finished where?
Yep. Give me 1 second to find it. Okay. So our 3-0s were Carmine Corp and Gentle Mates Alpine. And then dropping 1 game, we have Vitality, Magnifico, and BDS. And dropping 2 games is Moist, Team 3, and Endpoint. And getting kicked out, we have Oxygen, Belly Goal, F4WD. I'm sticking with Fast Forward Wheel Drive, and Resolve, Redemption, 100%. What is that? Wild.
Yup.
And
Okay. So with our results underway, let's jump right into our thoughts. First and foremost, something that we have not seen since the second split of last RLCS season, Vitality is not the number 1 seed. What do you think about that?
That's something. I mean, did anybody see this coming?
I don't think so. I mean, a lot of people anticipated that Vitality would just continue to do what they've been doing, but They put it pretty well in the broadcast, in my opinion, and like roster moves happen quite frequently, especially in esports. But it just kind of to bring like a new vibe, a new grind level to the team, right? So orgs use roster moves to get the players to love grinding the game again. That's why you hear them talk about like the honeymoon phase of a new roster, and why they can perform better because they're all grinding the game because they want to play together because they're loving that it's new and exciting. And Vitality is literally the only team in the world to not make a roster move.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. when you put it that way. But I still wouldn't have predicted it.
I wouldn't either. I mean, we haven't seen anything from them to show that they're not, still the same, the best team in the world until today. And, we still didn't necessarily get to see that Carmine Corp Vitality series like we thought we would. So we'll have to wait and see about that. Then maybe they run into each other in the playoffs. But, I certainly think that Vitality left a little bit to be desired. They kind of ramped up as the day went on. They started playing better and better after their loss to 100%. But they went to Game 5 with Redemption, and they dropped a game to Team 3. Or, sorry, not Team 3, to Bellingal. And, I thought that they probably could have played better throughout the day, but you can't really argue with the results. They're into the top 8 in third place. So it's kind of funny to me that it's such a story that Vitality drops a series because they haven't been eliminated by any means. They're just, not undefeated.
Yeah, it's news that they are not undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, there's a quote.
Crazy.
There's a quote that comes to mind for me on that one, and it's, "You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain." Right.
True.
And so, like, everybody, was hailing and praising Zen, and all the NA fans, certainly, like in Boston, were on their side with the stunt with the American flags, and got everybody behind them, and they won their world championship. They completed the perfect split. They they're the best team in the world, but people don't like to see dynasties. People love to root against teams that can do that. I mean, you're seeing it in in American football right now in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. A lot of people are rooting against them because they don't want them to win again. So, I can certainly see them being the quote unquote villains of EU with as easily as they handled the third split last season. So it was interesting for me to see that. And, I think Carmine Corp looked fantastic.
Yeah, Carmine Corp strong. And another one that I wasn't expecting was the Gentlemates Alpine going 3-0. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of see. I don't want to call it like cast-offs, right? But like that's kind of essentially what this team is, right? So it's Seiko, formerly from BDS. It's Itachi, formerly from Carmine Corp, and it's Juicy, formerly from Moist. That kind of team up together with the former Carmine Corp coach Eversax. So I mean, it's almost like an NA version of Leftovers, or like OG probably is a better example. But they're like, that's like drastic ends of the pyramid on this one, right? We saw OG go 0-3 and just get absolutely like swept out of Swiss. But in this, we see them go 3-0, right? This is like the opposite end of the spectrum. This is what people hoped that OG would be in their results. So it's cool to see for them. It's good for Juicy. It's great to see that they're performing so well because these players were very, very highly touted until their organizations made some big changes.
Yeah, it's working out for at least a couple teams.
It certainly is. But I think lastly, before we kind of jump into like our predictions and, get into our biggest winners and losers of this Swiss event, the team we have to talk about, in my opinion, is Team 3. The sole top 8 member that is not organizationally sponsored. Team 3 is a team of Cataclysm, Mark by 8, and Rizex, coached by Freaky. They had a great showing. They take down Oxygen, they sweep Magnifico, and then they beat Fast Four-Wheel Drive in round 5 to make it into the top 8. But I think that they looked good, especially against Magnifico, which a lot of people anticipated them being one of the top teams, which they still are. But I was very thoroughly impressed with their performance, and I think that they really showed what they can do, especially adding Mark by 8 to that roster.
Yeah, I feel like Mark by 8 really pulls the team together in a sense,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
He was being super aggressive, which he isn't always, and I feel like when he is, he obviously plays better.
Yeah,
and just has a better showing all around.
yeah. I mean, Mark by 8 was, in my opinion, one of the driving forces on Team BDS in their COVID run, when we didn't have our world championships, when BDS was winning everything, right? Like, so Monkey Moon was the flashy, like, mechanical player, but I feel like Mark was really the engine that was driving that team.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was shocked when they benched Mark by 8, right?
Yeah.
But then they went on to win, so guess it worked out in their favor.
It certainly did, but for Mark by 8's sake, I'm happy that he's finding some success, and I hope that we'll
hopefully
see.
he's getting paid now.
Well, they're not supported by an org yet, so maybe this means
that's true.
maybe this means that someone will pick him up. But hey,
so might as well go back to his last team. Is that what you're saying?
Hey, he's making the same amount of money as he did before.
True.
For those that aren't like fully privy to that, Mark by 8 was one of the players on G1 on Gamers First, and there was a big issue of them not being paid by their organization, as well as a lot of the people from the women's carball scene. They did not do a good job of paying their employees, paying their players, and so they have dropped out of Rocket League. I think partly because of that. And so I'm glad to see Mark by 8 doing better, and I really do hope that an organization picks them up, because I think they will be a very good team moving forward.
If I remember right, I believe G1 did end up paying their staff what they owed.
After the massive outrage that everybody on Twitter or X or whatever you're calling it now,
it's Twitter,
let out. Yeah, it's Twitter for me too.
I mean, it still happened, but like you said, it took a giant shitstorm to make it happen, which sucks.
It took way too long.
Yeah.
Like way too long.
Yeah. Yeah, just the fact that it took any time at all is not ideal. Far from ideal.
Yeah.
Fact.
But I think we will move forward into our biggest winners and losers of the day. Starting out with the biggest winners. So for me, first and foremost, that's Gentlemates. They had a great showing. It's a wonderful start to their season. I think this is a result that not a lot of people expected. They tied Carmine Corp in terms of they both dropped 3 games. They sweep BDS. They take Redemption down 3-1, and they beat Endpoint in Game 5. So a fantastic showing for them. And like I said, I think this is I kind of compared them to OG. I think this is like what OG could hope to do in NA. Second, I got Moist after a rough start to their Swiss stage, dropping Game 5 to Fast 4-Wheel Drive and dropping Game 4 to Resolve. They're able to reverse sweep the Swiss stage. That takes incredible mental fortitude, and a great showing from them as they really started to ramp up, taking down Wild 3-1, Redemption 3-0, and then taking down Bellinguel 3-1 to knock them out of the tournament. So, I can't say enough good things about the regain from Moist there. It's always nice to see Joyo and crew do well. He's one of the fan favorites in my opinion, at least.
I wrote them off after their second series. Figured they just take the third L and be on their way, but they managed to turn around. So super happy for them.
They certainly
did.
Me
some Moist.
Yeah, and it's hard not to like Charlie and Matt and all the guys over there. But we also did get to see a cash grudge match as Moist sweep Redemption and actually technically an Astral and Cash revenge match, as both those players played for Moist. Mm-hmm. So good to see them have the showing that they did, and they're able to take down Redemption. And then last but not least, our third biggest winner is NA Rocket League in general. So Vitality looked beatable. They went to 2 Game 5s and lost one of them. They dropped 6 games total. Carmine Corp was dropping games. Gentlemates dropped some games. So there's still zero doubt in my mind that EU is better than NA currently in Rocket League as a whole. However, the top-end talent in EU, especially last season, looked untouchable, especially for NA teams. But the way that G2 performed in Regional 1 for NA, and the way that a lot of people predict Gen G could like iron out some of their issues to be. I think that there's at least a glimmer of hope that one of those top two teams from NA can compete a little bit with some of EU's best. So that's why I have them there in that third winner spot.
So you're saying G2 has a chance.
I'm saying there's a chance.
All right. That's what I like to hear.
But now moving on to our biggest losers. Unfortunately, first and foremost, I have Grind, Serve, Resolve. They just couldn't get it going. They dropped out of Swiss. They're able to beat Moist in round 2, but they go to 2 game 5s and lose them both. I think that, quite frankly, they were a little bit lucky to make it to game 5 with Oxygen. I think that they were outplayed in that series, including a 8-minute overtime game, which I have absolutely no idea how they made it to 8 minutes of overtime. I just Oxygen was vastly outshooting them, and they probably should have had 3 or 4 goals, or they hit the post or missed an open net, something like that. So for me, they're on this list just because they couldn't seem to get it going, and I kind of expected a little bit more from them. Secondly, I got Redemption on here. I am a big fan of this roster. I still really like Astral. I really like Cash. I think that this is a good matchup. I think Ivan really brings a good defensive, kind of stable personality to this team, and I think that they can do good things. I kind of expect them to continue to build off of this moving forward. But they look dangerous, but they had a tough draw. After beating Wild, they lose 3-1 to Gentle Mates. They make it to game 5 with Vitality, but lose in a pretty substantial way, unfortunately, right? So they lose game 5 6-2. So Vitality wins in pretty convincing fashion there, and then they get swept by Moist in round 4 to drop out. So that's why they're in this loser spot for me. And last but certainly not least is 100% for me. They win one series on the day, and that one series happens to be against the reigning world champions in Vitality. They they lose in game 5 to Carmine Corp, then they get swept by BDS, and they drop 3-1 against Fast 4-Wheel Drive. So they're almost able to take out 2 of the juggernauts of EU, but I think that they kind of used up all their luck and their ability in those first 2 matches with that. So is there anybody that you think I missed in the winners or losers, and or how'd I do?
I think you nailed it. I do want to add the winner and loser of this tournament, Stumpy. Took the massive W by getting onto a McDonald's billboard.
Hey, brought back
Was it
the
in
breakfast
the UK,
wrap.
is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to Stumpy. And then shout out to Stumpy for biggest loser, because a disc plate fell off the wall and severed his CPU cooler cord, causing him to have to leave the main broadcast.
Yeah, that's a
We
new
got
one.
Stumpy, the biggest winner and biggest loser. Good work, Stumpy.
I mean, we talk about Nolly a lot on here, having like really high highs and really low lows. Man, we got to start including Stumpy in that.
Seriously, he's earned it.
He has. I mean, it's a huge high, right? He single-handedly brings back the breakfast wrap, and then he has to leave the broadcast because a disc plate fell and snapped his CPU cord.
Unfortunate.
Damn, that's brutal.
That is. That's rough.
So now that we've done our biggest winners and losers, before we jump into our predictions, AJ, did you have a series of the day?
I did. And I'm putting on my monologue pants for this one.
Okay.
In the electrifying European Qualifier 1 for RLCS, the Swiss Round 1 matchup was a tale of David versus Goliath, as the underdog team 100% took on the former world champions, Team Vitality. Against all odds, Team 100% secured a breathtaking 2-0 victory in Game 5 after a series that swung back and forth, showcasing their skill, determination, and the unpredictability of Rocket League.
Preach.
This victory was more than just a win. It was a statement, propelling them momentarily into the spotlight and towards the hallowed grounds of Champions Field, a dream for any competitor. However, the path to glory is fraught with challenges. Despite their monumental victory against Vitality, 100% faced setbacks in their subsequent matches, losing the next 3 series, which led to their early exit from the tournament. Their journey, though brief, was a reminder of the spirit of competition where underdogs can defy expectations and leave their mark, even if the road ahead is tough. 100%'s story in the European Qualifier 1 is a testament to the highs and lows of esports, embodying the heart and soul of competitive Rocket League.
Wow, couldn't have said that any better myself if I tried.
Yeah, do what I can.
Yeah, but for the new listeners, AJ likes to pick a series every event that that the both of us think you should go back and watch if you only have limited time to go back and watch a series. It was a great series to watch. It's exciting to see 100% relatively unknown team beating the world champions. That's one of the reasons that we all love Rocket League. That's why we watch RLCS, for these upsets and crazy results like that. But that is AJ's series of the day, and we can now jump over to our predictions.
Yeah, TLDR, 100% beat Vitality and then gets swept in the rest of the Swiss.
Yeah, seems about right. But with that, we'll jump into our predictions. We both made predictions last episode on which teams we thought would make the top 8. Both AJ and I went 6 for 8, 75%. Again, we'll take the C. C's get degrees. AJ getting Vitality, Carmine Corp, BDS, Moist, Alpine, and Magnifico correct. Missing, he incorrectly guessed Oxygen and Resolve. Missing Endpoint and Team 3. And like AJ, I also got Carmine Corp, Vitality, Magnifico, Moist, BDS, and Gentle Mates. And I incorrectly guessed Oxygen and Redemption, and I missed again on Endpoint and Team 3. A little bit of a pattern there. Neither of us guessing Endpoint or Team 3, but they're definitely teams. They're on the radar now, and hopefully we'll look to continue making our good predictions moving forward. It seems like we're on a little bit of a hot streak here.
Yeah, something's wrong.
It certainly seems that way. But now let's make it even harder. Let's make it harder for ourselves and continue on with that. Let's do top 4 out of this, and you can either keep the winner that you had before. You had Vitality, I believe, and
yeah, you had KC.
I had Carmine Corp. Yeah, so you can either keep that same winner or do something different.
I'll keep the same winner.
Okay, you're gonna keep Vitality?
Yeah, sure. Top 4, I'll go Vitality, KC.
So the playoff bracket is live, right? So you have Carmine Corp, Endpoint, Magnifico, BDS, Gentlemates, Alpine versus Team 3, and Vitality, Moist. So you're basically just picking. I know, that's tragic. You're picking 4 games.
That sucks. I'll go Gentlemates. I have to go BDS.
Yep.
These matches seem super easy to predict, but I also thought that about some Swiss stuff that didn't happen.
Hey, I mean, we talked about it for NA too, right? Like when we were picking our top 4 for that, we're like, this seems like it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
And we were pretty much right for that one.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we dropped 1 series.
Yeah, we were both 3 for 4.
I'm gonna take Moist over Vitality.
Are you
going with the Hopium in the bottom match again?
Okay. Well, then you can't wait. If you take Moist over Vitality, you can't have Vitality winning.
I know. Yeah, I know. I foresee a lot of surprises, and I'm going to change my top 4 to reflect it. KC, BDS, Team 3 are going to take down Alpine. They're going to have the same situation as, what was it, M80?
Yep,
same situation there. And then we're taking Moist over Vitality, and then KC is still gonna win.
Okay. Okay.
Going with the strong hopium here.
Fair. But transitioning back across the pond here a little bit. This weekend, starting later tonight, we'll timestamp this. We're recording this on Friday, February 9th, before the NA Open Qualifier number 2 has started. Do you expect any big changes or any teams that we saw before to not make Swiss?
Not really, no. I think top 8 are gonna be pretty similar.
I kind of feel the same way on that one. I don't know that I don't know that it's a deep enough region to really change that much. I mean, we may see a different top 8, but I think for the most part in Swiss, I think it'll be pretty similar to what we saw last time.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, now we'll jump on down to talking about esports decals. So before we kind of go into our thoughts and which ones we're rocking, I was trolling through Twitter and kind of compiled a consensus thoughts from people's tier lists and people just kind of talking about them in general. And it seems to be that the consensus top best decals are TSM, G2, Gentle Mates Alpine, and BDS, and the worst kind of being Ground Zero, Shopify, and Power. How do you feel about this list, and what are your favorites?
I agree with the top ones. I absolutely agree with those. The bottom ones, however, let's see, where were they? Ground Zero, Shopify, Power?
Yep.
So, Ground Zero, I think that one looks good. I don't know what the heck people are on about. Maybe it looks too similar or something to the previous one? I don't know. I could see that, I guess. I think it looks good, though. What do we got for Power? Oh,
I mean,
that's Pioneers, not Power.
It's kind of their same, yellow, black color scheme that they got going.
See, I think this looks good, too. What's wrong with people?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I understand that, for every group of things, there has to be a worst option, but I don't necessarily know that I agree with these three. I mean, the Shopify one is the one that I rock. I think that looks really good. I threw some forest green Reapers on there with it, and it looks great in my opinion. I mean, yeah. I'm also a pretty big fan. Green is one of my favorite colors, so I think that's part of it. So maybe if you have an aversion to green, I can understand that because there's a lot of green decals. You have M80, Ground Zero, Shopify, Ninjas in Pajamas. There's quite a few green team or green adjacent teams. So I mean, I guess I can understand, but I kind of disagree.
If you hate green, I understand, but I think all of the green decals just look good.
I think so too.
I think M80s probably looks the worst out of the green ones.
I think I agree with that.
Even that, it's still not bad.
Yeah, I don't think any of them are bad.
No.
So, but that kind of brings us into another conversation, right? And so, it was tweeted out, by some people in Luminosity, and that's kind of where the notoriety and where people started to catch on to this. But apparently the organizations and decal artists had been told that the decals were going to be anodized paint finish, and so they designed their logos and decals accordingly so that they would look good with the anodized paint finish. And when the decals came out, they are matte finish, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, didn't something like this happen last time too?
Yep.
Not the exact situation, but they were told things needed to be changed or something last minute, so Vitality put out that stinker of a decal that everybody uses now.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. But I mean, it's certainly interesting, right? Because Luminosity tweeted this isn't what we hoped it would look like. We're so thankful for all you guys who bought the decal. But it was supposed to be that blue and gold. And they released their renditions of it, and the gold does look a lot better. I still contend that it doesn't look terrible, but I think the gold still would have looked better for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not what they wanted.
Yeah,
I saw the comparison from what it was and what it is now. And like, yeah, it just looked better before, which
Agreed.
sucks. But what can you do, I guess?
I mean, so like
And why
this,
did it? Why? I don't understand why they would change it like last minute or whatever.
I don't either. I mean, so like this is another thing that we continue to bang the drum about this on the show. Transparency, right? You can say a lot by not saying much at all. We've talked about that. We're less than 2 months out from the international major. We still don't know where it is. Like, that's a completely different conversation altogether. But like, it kind of goes hand in hand with all the communication issues that Epic Games has had, right? And so another thing that that comes up is Disney invests $1.5 billion, with a B, into Epic Games, and have partnered with Epic. This is potentially a really big positive for RLCS, for the Fortnite competitive series, for Epic Games in general. Disney has their partnership with ESPN, with Hulu, and obviously Disney has a wide range of things that they can do, right? So, they own cars. You can add more Disney products into the games. And there's a potential for Fortnite and Rocket League to be streamed on, Disney Plus or ESPN Plus, or, things like that, which would be
cool.
massive for the esport, bring a lot more eyes. Like, most notably, you saw like Overwatch League being streamed on ESPN and on the MLG channel. So like, getting on cable is just another avenue for people to enjoy and interact with your content, which is something that we all want. But like, realistically speaking, if you can't get the decals correct, like you can't communicate to the people who are making decals for your game that it's going to be matte finish and not anodized in a timely manner, then how should we expect them to be able to actively communicate with a giant partner and investor like Disney?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful because this is such a big opportunity. It's a lot of capital that's being invested, and the copium is real because RLCS is back, right? And we have something to consistently talk about and to consistently watch. But we again had quite a few broadcasting issues today, and I know they're still ironing out and working out the kinks, but hopefully things start to get better, and this transitionary period that we appear to be in is only temporary, and that RLCS can continue to grow. So, did you have any other thoughts on that, on EU, on NA, on Rocket League in general?
I don't think so. NA has a chance. All the decals look pretty good.
But with that, we'd like to wrap up this episode of the Boost Over Ball podcast. We'd like to thank you so much for listening. And we'd also like to remind you to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, join our Discord, rate us wherever you listen to podcasts. Those 5 stars really help us out, really help us grow our show, and help us bring our content to as many people as possible. We'd also like to remind you to check out our YouTube, our Twitch, our TikTok, and our merch store. All of these links and more can be found on our website at boostoverball.com. From us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Thank you for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website, www.boostoverball.com, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.